Hello again, Struck. Today I'm bringing you another one from my series of quad showcases for Magic Legends, and this one is for the Necromancer. Let's talk about the Necromancer in general before delving into the abilities and passives that it gets. The Necromancer uses deathly rituals to devastate enemies and raise undead hordes for their own purposes. Utilize your unique connection with death to tear the life from the living and sap your enemy's strength with terrible curses. This class has synergies with the black mana type, but just like any other class can use decks with spells of all mana types. And as long as you're using up to 2 different colors or one specific color of mana, you should be fine. It doesn't have to be black. You can use black and white, you can use red and blue, you can use just red, just green, and so on. The class has 2 permanent passive bonuses, plus 500 sorcery damage potency and plus 250 sorcery healing potency. He's more of a mid-ranged class, but does get access to any single spell, which means you can play it long-ranged if you don't use his basic attack, his primary attack. Active abilities. Each class has 3 plus 1 active abilities and mana search, but again, more about that later, and that help define that character alongside a set of passive abilities and a passive trait. The active abilities are spammable primary attack combo, a secondary attack that has a cooldown, a utility which sometimes is an escape mechanic skill, and a ultimate, as I like to call it, spark power. Out of those 4, the ultimate, the spark power, is unlocked at level 6, while the other 3 can be used as soon as you start the game. And mana search, which we'll talk about later, unlocks at level 3. The primary for the Necromancer is Grim Siphon, which is lash foes in front of you with your necromantic pendulum, dealing damage plus additional damage over 3 seconds. The damage over time effect also heals for 10% of the damage dealt. The secondary power is Grave Upheavel. Deal damage to foes in an area around target foe. Then create 2 1/1 skeleton creature tokens at that location. Each skeleton still on the battlefield from a previous use of this ability is replaced by a new one. The utility skill of the Necromancer is Soul Wither. Deal damage over 5 seconds to foes around you and heal for 10% of the damage dealt. Foes are inflicted with lesser slow and can be passed through while under this effect, which is kind of the escape mechanic. If you need to get away, you can pass through the enemies, you can phase through them. Now, Spark Power. The Spark Power is called Death Campaign. And once you activate it, it starts draining 60 spark meter every second. What it does is it creates a 1/1 skeleton, 1/1 skeleton archer, 2/2 zombie and a 4/4 zombie Hulk creature tokens. Whenever a foe dies while under the effect of Necrotic Curse, randomly create a 1/1 skeleton, 1/1 skeleton archer or 2/2 zombie creature token at its location. More about the Necrotic Curse in a moment. If it was champion rank or above, it creates a 4/4 zombie Hulk creature token instead. When this effect expires, each creature that was created in this way dies and deals 200% of its damage to foes around it. Keep in mind that you may not cast spells or use class abilities while the spark power is active, but you gain access to the new power during this effect, and that new power is Necrotic Curse that was referred to above. So what is Necrotic Curse? It's basically replacing your primary attack, and it allows you to channel a stacking effect in a cone in front of you. This effect deals damage over 3 seconds and heals for 25% of the damage dealt. So as you're hitting enemies and if they die during the effect of Necrotic Curse, you would get extra things, extra creatures summoned. Now let's move on to Mana Search. Mana Search is something that every class gets at level 3. It's an ability that uses the Spark Power charge before you unlock your ultimate Spark Power at level 6. And after you unlock the ultimate Spark Power, you can still use Mana Search, Normally when the spark power bar is not fully charged, you can even try using it when it's fully charged. What the Mana Surge does is it gives you the following buff. Gain 3 mana over 6 seconds. Then draw a spell card after those 6 seconds are over. So some builds allow you to focus more on Mana Surge, other builds allow you to go more for the spark power. In either case, regardless whether you go Mana Surge or Spark Power, you can get items and artifacts and stuff that give you Spark Power recharge, so you can use those more often. There's gonna be some interesting builds centered around that. I can't wait to start messing around with some of those eventually. Now let's move on to the level up and passives. Each hero gets various passive upgrades to their active abilities, as well as general passives that are not linked to a specific ability as they level up. Those passives normally get unlocked at the following levels: 4, 7, 10, 15 and 22. Now let's talk about some of those. At level 3 you get Mana Surge. We already talked about this. At level 4 you get Grim Feast, which is an upgrade for, you guessed it, Grim Siphon. Grim Siphon heals a creature you control with the lowest health percentage for 10% of damage dealt, and the final attack deals additional damage. At level 6 you get Death Campaign, the Spark Power. We already talked about this, so I'm not gonna describe it again. Now, Trees a Crowd at level 7. Grave Upheavel creates an additional 1/1 Skeleton Archer creature token. That's a upgrade for our secondary power, as you see. And now next, Desperate Measures, which is an upgrade for our utility, Soul Wither. Soul Wither applies Root instead of Lesser Swow to foes for the duration if you are below 50% health. Now at level 15 we get a general passive, Aether Absorption. Whenever you cast a sorcery, heal for 5% of your maximum health over 3 seconds. At level 22 another general passive, Scavenging Horde. Whenever a creature you control dies, another random creature you control gets +1/+1 for 10 seconds. And at level 30 every class unlocks a trait, which brings us to the next part of this video, the trait. Reaching level 30 on each class unlocks a passive trait specific to that class, which can be slotted into one of the 3 trait slots alongside 2 more traits that you get from other classes you've maxed out. The Necromancer's trait is Necrotic Burst. Whenever a creature you control dies, it deals 200% of its damage to foes around it over 5 seconds. I really hope all that information helps you decide whether the Necromancer is your kind of class, whether that's the one you want to start with or the one you want to try out next. It's a pretty fun class, and again you can play any class with any type of deck, any color, so switching between classes is pretty easy, and eventually I do recommend for everyone to unlock and try every class to see what they like, but hopefully this information helps you at least initially decide whether it's your kind of class. This class is the one that can get the most sorcery damage potency from its passives, and that's probably one thing that is worth keeping in mind if you want to go all in with the DPS. To get notified when I upload more content for this game or other games like this one, which would be Wooters of all varieties, isometric, third-person ARPGs, Wooter shooters and all sorts of Wooters like that, you could subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button to not miss out on my content updates. And optionally you can even join as a member of the Struck Club on YouTube as a channel member to get access to exclusive perks such as special emotes custom made by me, special badges custom made by me that represents how many months you have been a member for, as well as opt-in of editing tutorials that I can give for Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, as well as shoutouts and things like that. And I would like to use this part of the video to thank all my YouTube members and Twitch subscribers. Thank you for supporting the channel and keeping me going. Thank you also for watching this video, everyone. Keep it cool, Struck Club. Until next time, and goodbye.